bagulho de doente. Deixa eu pegar o vídeo daquele cara que reagiu a música lá do PGR. Eu até recebi a notificação desse vídeo aí, mas não peguei pra assistir não. Ah. Vai ficar meio cortado, tá, gente? Até bom que ajuda no...
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to
E não
another
tomar...
punishing Grey Raven reaction. We have another new one from Ghost Final. It's been a hot second, and I'm excited because it's been a while since I've heard a Ghost Final track, and there's always something about every specific composer that I listen to that it's just like, it's like meeting an old friend after a while. You're just like, oh, another one, hey! So I'm excited to hear what this one has in store for me. So this is In My Memory, and let's go. Ooh. Starting out with that deep bass hit, okay. I love it when you start playing a song and it punches you in the gut immediately. Ooh. And kind of like a fantasy edge to it. Strings, man. They'll always be good. Ooh, okay. Great chord progression. I'm loving this somber energy. It's already starting to build up. It's got a bittersweet sort of flavor. I'm enjoying this, and I know we haven't even gotten into it yet.
Essa é o número 1 mesmo, Reis? Esqueci de perguntar.
All right, starting to hear those like plucky synths. This is gonna go like trance, isn't it? It's gonna go full trance. Ghost Final, you fly dog. That is a very punchy bass. And pixelation. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Okay. Hey, wait a second. Man, that is so deconstructed. That's so simple. Whew. Okay. Crunchy, clappy snare, too. Woo. All right, you got me grooving. It's already a win. From where this started to where it is now, that's an insane difference.
Nem tinha reparado. Vou sai, guys. Vou sai, caiu.
Gotta love a good, like, low percussion break.
Eu não sou notificado nem quando cai, cara. Ficou mó tempão off. Sério? Aqui nunca dá pra ver quando que cai, cara.
You're gonna hear this voice hit a high note. Ooh, maybe. Oh, okay. Oh, that was sick. Ooh, it's more like a glitch hop. Okay. It's been a long time since I've heard a good glitch hop track. It's been a couple months. All right.
tava no Discord. Eita.
The mix on this is so fat. Oh, I love that.
Eita.
Yo, okay. Oh, it's switching back. I was like, are we getting a different like sound again? This is such an interesting track. Some might say that song shouldn't be so beautiful and badass. Oh, a different sound. I was right. Hold on. I disagree with like not being both beautiful and badass though. That's like the best combo. Okay. A completely new direction for the song. This laid into it. Woo.
É a melhor parte da música mesmo. Em uma larga diferença de escala.
Dude. This is unfair.
Sim. Também concordo, gente.
Oh, we're going back? We're going back to Glitch Hop City? Don't mind if I do. Ooh, okay, now they're blending that in. Time for everything to marry together in just one sick tone, huh? Whew. Yeah, okay. Adding the string plucks in. This is such a neat blend. Oh, I'm already geeking out.
Então... Essa parte do Final Boss é muito foda.
And an interesting
Eita,
pattern
tá,
change
tá
on the
travando.
percussion. Okay. There's so much to like about this song already. I haven't even started talking about it, like actually.
Essa parte que é foda.
Hello? Are you kidding? All of this, and we're getting like traditional indigenous vocals. Like, that's so cool. What? Why out of nowhere? The chanting, dude, that's so cool.
Eu acho que essa música, esse final da música pra mim tem quase o mesmo efeito que Revelation. De quando vai a parte cantada, sabe? É tipo assim, a música vai melhorando, vai melhorando, vai melhorando, vai melhorando, vai melhorando, e daqui a pouco, pô! Aí você fala, oh!
Jeez. That went through like 4 entirely different songs in 7 minutes. I think I have whiplash. All right, so bold and very early in the year claim, that is a contender for the best song of the year already. I know that we just started. I don't care. That is insanely complex. You started in an entirely separate genre from where it went to, and it went to this like electronic glitch hop flavor, and then they backed away from that, went back to the first feeling, introduced an entirely new sound, then went back to the second sound with elements of the third one, and then they introduced a completely unique part to that by the end. There's so much movement to this. I am flabbergasted. I cannot stop geeking out about this song. For real. Ghost Final, I think I've said before that Ghost Final has like outdone themselves in prior songs. This one is hands down, absolutely hands down, one of the best, if not the best songs they've ever produced. This is absolutely insane. The sheer awareness of everything that they were using, the sheer knowledge of each part going in and just sliding so effortlessly into a completely different sound, only to be like introducing parts and then adding more later. I thought that yesterday when I was listening to The Rain Formerly Known as Purple from Risk of Rain, that was going to be like the most interesting like musical achievement, at least for the rest of the month. And now I'm here, immediately proven wrong. This song is so neat. Let me get into some technical stuff that I really loved about this. So the first part that really like stood out to me, it was that transition into that electronic part, just having that 4 on the floor bass just bumping along with that like really sawtoothy synth underneath it, just sat there and it took up all the room that it needed to on the bottom, but there was like really not much else going on in the song. There was just like some effects kind of scattered on the top, sprinkled in, but the song transitioned from a sound that had a bunch of plucks and a bunch of like violin and cello tone that was very smooth and just free-flowing, and it took up all of this like lethargic sort of energy and this time to get to where it wanted to be, and then to change it to that, a driving electronic bass-driven sound of just sawtoothy, gritty, rough electronic with barely a measure of transition in there. That was such an interesting change to go from one extreme to the next, and it was just baffling. It caught me off guard so well. And I think the next part that really got to me was the part around like 3 minutes and 20 seconds in where that vocalization was happening, and then it glitched out and transitioned to the more like glitch hop aggressive side of that electronic portion. And that vocal chop alone is like worth writing home about. That is so cool. The way that he just let that note go, it like glitched, like it was like da, 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 but it like echoed into the following segment. He didn't like stop the song. He didn't like cut out any of the extra at the end of that sound. He let that ring in. He let it connect naturally. And that's so cool, especially after just cutting it off like he did before. That is awesome. That's such a neat aesthetic to do that. What a transitional spot. And again, with the transitions, I'm not sure how Ghost Final got so absolutely based with transitions in these songs, but from each part, they always carry a little bit of the last segment with them, or they introduce something entirely new. Like when that glitch hop section starts, and then it goes back to the like more traditional plucky harp and strings, it brings in a little bit of that synth, and it utilizes the synth as a transitional instrument in a way to reintroduce the violin and the harp. It kind of sounds pseudo similar to the harp with that pluck going on, so having those blend is just brilliant. And then of course just slightly later bringing back in the electronic bass drum to keep that beat heavy while bringing in a flute to really just bring all of this new head to the song. Like I thought we reached the climax with that glitch hop section and it was all going to be kind of gradual downward from there, but no, we hadn't even gotten to the first climax yet. We had to get to this one too, and this was an entirely different sound. I have my theories as to why, so like hold on for a second because I'm gonna like get introspective with the song, but that was so neat. And there's a few other ones that happened as well. So the next section where it like transitions to the next head was kind of neat, but it wasn't like super super impressive like the prior ones had been, because it was already bringing with so much that this one kind of felt natural to keep going with that energy, and there wasn't as much to take away in order to give back a bunch more, so it just ended up kind of feeling a little less aggressive. That's the part of the song that has like the most watched, like the most rewatched segment of that track, and I see why, because it is kind of the peak of the song, but at the same time it just didn't hit quite as hard until you get to that final part where they introduce those vocals, and that was so beautiful, dude. That was so cool. I loved everything about that final part where they introduced the final layer. They really put that like icing on the cake, cherry on top. I just adore how beautiful this song is. There's so much to it. It goes everywhere. So my theory here is that because the song is in my memory, and of course without knowing anything about this character other than the little bit I was given in the visuals of this video, I want to believe that this character either, like, that must be a central thing for them, the memory, like their past, their future, who they are now, etc. And I think that this song is meant to embody that memory, like quite literally moving through different phases of their life, the recollection of their childhood. I feel like this song starts at their childhood and then moves to their future, and then it turns into a recollection of their childhood, and then they kind of come back to the future, and then it's like an optimistic or just a realistic look forward with all that extra sound added on. I think all of this trading of layers and tones and sound throughout this song is supposed to be that. I think it's supposed to be the memory of this character.
Peguei, mas ainda assim, Atman é foda, se não tem spark. É, eu teria sparkado, mas aí adivinha? Não tinha como sparkar. Eu fiquei assim, oh! Eu fiquei, oh! What the fuck?
Você quer descobrir como é a rotina de trabalho de devs que desenvolvem o front-end do Spotify? Então, inscreva-se na primeira imersão front-end.
Skacha?
ただ古戦場のためにコンゴを使うやついるじゃん。
Ragazzo tudo bem, já esperava.
水着蹴るに、例えば今回だったら水着蹴るにコンゴを3つ入れましたみたいな。普段使い全くしねえけど古戦場のためだけにとりあえず3つ突っ込んだわとかもまああるじゃん。
Isso tem um livro de inscrição.
そういう事例もね。そういうのに比べた時のじゃあコンゴ1フラウはどうなんて言われたら、まあ同程度の価値はあるとは思うけど、古戦場のタイム詰めのためにさ、物にコンゴを入れるのってさ、まあ、言うて持ってるもののムーブだからさ、余裕があるやつの結局優先度表とかを頼りに当てのない当てのない旅を続けるソランチュたちにはまあおすすめするべき4アビではないよなという結論には至ってしまいますね。まあ僕も近いうちに全部取ろうかなとは思ってますけど、あと3体ですし、ここだけの話さ
Qual? Três patetas?
ここだけの話、コンゴを1個浮いたからさ、ちょっとだけ余裕が。最近コンゴ1個浮いたので、と言っても余裕はないんですけど、 なんで言ったんですか。ちなみに幸せにならないですよ、聞い
Quero
て。
entender por que que tá usando Scatia, velho. Pra fazer esse full alto dele.
ああ、お布施た強えな、これ。ディスペルの安定感が違う。
Pelo damage reduction que ela dá, será? Passar a pelear bugs. Acho que não veio nos três, não.
ス
E
タレは
espero que
回
não.
してないです、両方。
Eu, honestamente, eu prefiro um FLB no Lúcio ou na Shalem.
ケツはな、いやー、ケルベロスな、マジとつりてえ気持ちあるけどな。サブ枠激戦区すぎて、
Será que ele vai mostrar
と
os
してもサブ会員入れ
sumos
る
dele?
枠
Suma não.
クソ怪しいから、やっぱディスペルガード偉いんだよな。
Três patetas.
今後1個答え合わせする？絶対低評価増えるけど。正解はですね、無料200連でトリプルゼロが出ました。現金現金10万入れても出なくて、最後泣きながら出したトリプルゼロを無料200連で出た。あ、ふーんってなった。ちなみに当時排出率 0.01% ですね。
Tá jogando de remite.
なんかさ、なんか、いやまあふーんってなったよ。いや今回浮いたから、いや俺は嬉しいよ。俺は嬉しかったし、あと多分前回とかの配信で言ってたはずなんだよ。俺
O
は
de ele muito lindo. Sim.
俺は自分を信じ悪い方
A
向に
Katana
信
pegou
じ
de
て
bom
ない
na
から、
Higurashi.
ここで明日無料200連とかあんのにトリプルゼロに
Mostra o time,
一
velho.
時の感情で試したいという感情で今後を入れたら良くないことが起こるみたいな予感をしてた。ちゃんと当たった。本当に入れてたらひどいことになってた。かぶりがゴミのかぶりがゴミになるこの最近のサブフカ
Vou tentar inventar uma moda aqui então.
系の石の中で本当ひどいことにならなくてよかった。これ2枚重なってますこいつ。取っとく意味もないんで。
É de spell que ele tá usando.
ただ現状マジサブ石としてしか使ってないですね。あんまりあれでは使いました。あれではがっつり使いました。無限ソロ無限ソロ7分5秒ワールドレコードメイントリプルゼロです。やちま投げるたびにうおトリプルゼロ選ばないでくれって言いながらやちま投げてた。まだここでしかうわなんかトリプルゼロ強えって言ってない。多分6分台出るんだよな。ただ7分5秒出た後にいろいろいじってたらマジで7分台前半すら出なくなったから。
Tu fez o patch da Gosto.
ハイラが鬼強い。
Eu só entrei numa guilda que tem
結局
alquimia recentemente.
まだ探求のやつ
É, não fiz não. Dá bem menos dano, né? Fazer o quê?
マジか。もうちょっと研究できそう。まだ俺無限しゃぶれる。まだ俺無限で遊べるな。ちょっとここ数日は 時間なさすぎて95の後に息抜きで7分5秒出した後全くされてないけど。
Ah, tá, ele é vídeo. Até pausar o vídeo dele. Então, mais queria ver era isso. Entendi. Caralho, eu já joguei esse machado meu fora muitos anos atrás. Pra quem é logo de protobar. Bem isso mesmo. Bem isso mesmo. Vamos ver. Se dá qualquer coisa parecida com mais ou menos bom aqui. Ah, é. Tem que jogar sem... sem outro, peraí. Pronto. Muito obrigado, você é louco. Só o boss que eu não curti muito. Você não gostou da arte, você tá dizendo, ou do personagem? O personagem ficou muito bom, meu Deus. A arte não, a arte ele é feio mesmo. Fazer o quê? Deixa eu ver se...
Devil May Cry Peak of Combat is a unfortunate, disappointing mess of a game, which, considering it's mobile gacha, really shouldn't come as a surprise, but the annoying part is it nearly wasn't. I mean, it was always a mobile gacha game, but it was one that looked so much better than it had any right to be, and one that I was genuinely a little bit excited for. Not that I expected it to outshine any of the mainline games, but with Itsuno currently working on Dragon's Dogma 2, it was nice to see that there was something new on the horizon, just to keep things fresh after so many replays of DMC 3, 4 and 5. The game has actually been in development for quite a while now, with Young Game, or rather Nebula Joy as they go by internationally, acquiring the rights back in 2017 before DMC 5 was even announced. And it's really impressive for a game to make me 180 on it so many times and have its own rise and fall arc before even coming out. But alas, to talk about why DMC Peak of Combat is so disappointing, we must first talk about DMC Pinnacle of Combat, and everything it could have been instead. Back in December of 2019, sometime after DMC 5's release, we got our first look at actual gameplay for Nebula Joy's mobile DMC game subtitled Pinnacle of Combat. And while it definitely looked a little rough around the edges, what was shown was actually surprisingly promising. It had style, it had environments inspired from both DMC4 and the reboot. They showed off weapons and enemies from DMC3. And the small clips that were shown off not only indicated that things like weapon switching and the entire movesets of weapons like Rebellion and Agni and Ruja would be there, but also that a few new moves like a weird shadow clone combo and an aerial stinger and high time would be available as well. I was cautiously optimistic, which is honestly saying something considering the platform it was coming out on, and as time passed and more trailers were shown off and betas were released, that cautious optimism became optimism. There were definitely some concessions that had to be made here and there given the platform, such as having to rely on the DMC reboot style of performing stingers and high times due to the hold-based lock-on just not being possible on a touchscreen. And a few similar cutbacks had to be made to the style system as well, by watering it down a bit and just integrating the styles into Dante's moveset. Trickster just became a dodge and air dash button now, and stuff like Prop Shredder and Rainstorm are integrated as part of the weapon's base moveset. It's a sacrifice to be sure, but it is what it is, and for the most part, everything you'd want is still there. The story, setting and such was also looking to be kind of interesting too. Pinnacle of Combat seemingly takes place a
Sempre que
few months
ele
after the
revive,
end of
ele fica
DMC3,
absurdo.
with Dante still rocking the leather boob strap design he had in that game and is taking on jobs alongside Lady. The two of them seem to have some sort of run-in with a fellow demon hunting guild and end up taking on a job involving some magical child as well as reincarnations or copies of bosses and enemies from DMC 1, 3, and 4. The story itself is pretty basic and just a contrived way to reuse old enemy movesets and designs, but honestly, I'm already expecting very little from a DMC plot as it is, so I'm not really that bothered if the narrative of a mobile game spin-off whose canonicity is ambiguous at best is a little bit weak. What I do like about it, however, is by showing stuff like other Devil Hunters, it helps expand the scope of the world a little bit compared to the other games. As for the presentation, the game didn't really improve that much over time. It definitely looked like it had the right spirit of
Não,
things,
pra acabar
but
de ler
it just
mesmo.
always looked a little bit off. Character models looked a
Ele dá
little
uns
uncanny
gritos
valley at
engraçados,
times,
né?
animations not taken from other games such as the ones in cutscenes could look a little bit stiff, and stuff like voice acting and sound mixing was quite frankly all over the place in terms of quality, but hey, it's a mobile game, they're gonna run into some walls and limitations, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. Up until this point, Pinnacle of Combat had been a China exclusive mobile release, and it was a nightmare to try and get into the beta if you wanted to give it a go. But it was around about this time where both the official worldwide release and the PC port were announced due to some unexpected fan demand. Things were looking pretty good. Nebula Joy was putting out something that was much better than expected and seemed to be listening to the enthusiasm and acting on it. Not only were we getting the game now, but we were getting a version that would likely remove things like the hitching and the input delay that the mobile release did admittedly have, as well as the potential to enhance things like the visuals and such. Not to mention the obvious improvement of having proper controller support. Now, after this announcement, we actually went a really long time without hearing an awful lot about this worldwide release and PC port. But it wasn't like the game wasn't being updated. Over the next year or so, there was multiple betas and eventually the quote-unquote final release of the game out in China. And throughout the next couple of months after that, we had tons of content patches, like new weapons for Dante, like Nevin, Beowulf, and a weird version of the Arbiter axe from the reboot. Lady was made into her own playable character, carrying over pretty much all of her kit from DMC4 and more. And of course, roughly around about the same time as DMC5 Special Edition's release, they added him.
I am the storm that is approaching.
With Virgil being added to the game, motivation gauge and all, as
Eles
well
estão
as a bunch
cagando
of
pra
new things
China.
like weapon
O GBF
variants,
caga pra
new
China.
moves, different costumes,
Eles têm a
and
dubladora
also
que eles
things like
odeiam.
a PvP
Até
and a
hoje, que é a Ai
co-op mode
Caiano.
being available. We were getting to the point where I could say confidently, damn, Pinnacle of Combat, you may be kinda jank, but you're shaping up to be a cool-ass video game. After all, it was in a pretty good shape already, and they were only going to keep adding stuff and polishing it over time before the Western release eventually came round. All I wanted and expected was a pretty cool new DMC game that, while derivative, was just some new simple fun to keep things fresh, and it was seeming like that they were going to deliver above and beyond. And it's around this point where I started to become a bit of an optimistic champion and apologist of this game. I'd talk about how, yeah, it's a mobile game, but it's shaping up to be pretty good, and oh yeah, there's gacha stuff in there, but it's relatively minor. Besides, it's a Chinese mobile game, that's just how they make their money out there. It's either this free-to-play style, or we don't get a game at all. And besides, it's not like they're taking away resources from the main DMC team anyway, they're working on Dragon's Dogma 2. Sadly, it was at this point where they proved me wrong.
Não é o mercado deles.
Very, very wrong. So, the name change from Pinnacle of Combat to Peak of Combat actually came a little ways before this announcement, but I've kept off from saying it just for clarity's sake. But in early mid-2023, Nebula Joy announced the 2.0 release of the game, which for clarity's sake I will also just call Peak of Combat. But this 2.0 release was a complete overhaul of the game's combat and mechanics. And it's the most deflated I have gotten from a game in a while. My motivation skydived. I really don't like being negative about stuff usually, especially on this channel. Hell, I'll even defend DMC2 and DMC Devil May Cry in their own way. DMC2 introduced a lot of early concepts that would make it into later titles and be improved by them. And the DMC reboot, while having a lot of problems, was still better than a lot of action games that come out, especially with the definitive edition. You just have to make sure you skip all the cutscenes or play in Espanol. DMC Peak of Combat's 2.0 patch, however, killed my family. Let's start with the good things that were added. Nero becomes a playable character, and now active character switching is a thing. Very cool, sneaking in some Salt Spy influence in there. By the way, if you are a DMC fan, I very much recommend Assault Spy over this crap. It is a little bit janky, but it was made by one dude, and it's still very fun and just oozing with charm. Now let's go over all of the things that 2.0 removed, gutted, and reworked. Weapon switching? Gone. Guns? Gone, besides Lady. Input attacks? Gone, and have been replaced with special moves that go on a cooldown. You now have to wait
o
before
jogo tá
you
até
can
bonito.
perform another stinger. And
Que o
now
jogo
a
tá
lot
não,
of your
é
moves
bonito.
and combos are strictly tied to the gacha element. You basically have a collection of different flavors of easy automatic based on which weapon variants that you've unlocked and equipped from the gacha system. It still looks flashy, like some sort of spectacle fighter, but there's next to no player expression when creating combos, which is really the core of DMC and character action in general. The core of Devil May Cry's combat is your toolkit. Guns don't do much
Tá,
damage,
agora
but
entendi
they're
por que
there
falou
to
que é igual
even keep
Honkai.
you and or your enemy airborne, and also keep those combos going when you're too far away from anyone to do anything. High Time is obviously your universal launcher for air comboing, and Stinger is
Vou me
there to
corrigir, o
close the
CG
gap
tava
between
bonito.
you and the enemy, but also work as an easy knockdown to give yourself some breathing room. And with all of this stuff being more limited to things like specific characters and cooldown abilities, all this is really doing is limiting that toolkit for the sake of it. There is an argument to be made that these changes were put there for casual players, so they're able to engage with that stylish combat system too, but this is what the easy auto setting is for, and it just seems kind of pointless to make one of the most standoutish action games on mobile and to announce a PC port for it that would very easily fix many of its problems that it does have, being stuff like controller support and performance problems, whatever they may be, only to change everything fairly last minute and basically lose everything that was kind of unique about your game. What they've essentially done is turned it into a reskinned Honkai Impact 3rd clone, and with its honky mimicry, it means that the gameplay is now much more tied to that gacha system. Now revolving around what weapons you've upgraded and brought with you, and making sure you get your bonus damage from constantly switching characters, and the whole thing has become more of a numbers game opposed to how well you can hack and slash and dodge. Making enemies much more resistant to general combos and taking out many of the launch and air combo systems in the game is all in service to pushing you more towards those gacha-isms, so you'll probably spend more money. Honkai Impact 3rd does have its own gameplay loop and such, and that's fine if that's what you want, but building up a game that is such a weird and wonderful amalgamation of multiple past DMC games, a series that prides itself on fun, complex and in-depth combat, only to gut it all out and water it down, is just so disappointing and such a waste. And the thing is Honkai Impact at least has a fairly decent story with a ton of fun lore etc. to go through, at least from what I gather, whilst Peak of Combat is giving us Frank the Demon Hunter. At this point, I think I'd rather just play Devil May Cry 4 Refrain. I think I have my old Gen 1 iPod Touch kicking about somewhere. Now, I am self-aware enough to realise that we're stepping into whining territory here, and I mean, it's not like I'm being forced to play it by any means, but I do stand by the fact that I can be annoyed and heavily disappointed with the whole ordeal, considering how excited I got for a very tangible thing that did exist and wasn't just stuff I was making up in my head. But at the end of the day, these are probably honest, hard-working people who worked on the game, and I do kind of feel bad about shitting on them so hard. At least, I did until doing research for this video brought to light that this company kinda has a tendency for being a bit scummy. Now, a lot of what I found could just be described as Discord drama, but looking at how their approach is to dealing with this sort of stuff really helps back up the claims of previous employees and other people who've interacted with the company. As a mobile game-focused joint, this really doesn't surprise me, but Nebula Joy have quite a reputation in China for being a simply awful place to work. Treating devs like cogs in the machine and then throwing them out and firing them as soon as they say anything that isn't sycophantic. Which is a sentiment that is upheld within their community as well. Instantly banning anyone who has any sort of a complaint with the game and protecting known assholes within the server just because they're active there and also putting money into the game. To a certain extent, I do kind of get this. After all, a game's Discord server is partially designed to advertise the game, but it takes about 2 seconds looking at this shit to realize that all they really want is an echo chamber, and when this extends to how they treat the devs, you get a pretty clear picture of what we're working with here. And thanks Sparta, I haven't worked with them, since I did have a few opportunities where content creators could work with them, but it seems like any that have done have kind of been scammed by the studio. Outside of all of the echo chamber stuff, there's also a good number of examples of competitions hosted by Nebula Joy, with various prizes being offered to the winners. And it seems like none of those winners have actually received any of those prizes. People, however, have noticed that Nebula Joy have very eagerly used stuff like the footage from their combo video competition in their trailers. So yeah, all in all, my point is I really don't feel bad shitting on the game too much, since the hands that slaved away on it are probably not even there anymore. And the people who've made all the decisions that I don't like are probably the reason why they're not there. As I said before, I really don't like making negative videos like this, but I know that not everyone has been keeping up with this game's development too much, so I wanted to make sure that a lot of the positive reception that came out upon announcement and throughout the early years of its development, the praise that people like me and some other people were giving off is not for the game that we ended up getting. And it's also just a usual PSA to remind people that gacha is never worth it. I know I put out a fairly positive video on that stuff a little while ago, but about 2 weeks after I finished it, my enthusiasm for Honky Choo Choo just died. And if you are adamant of at least giving it a go, then by all means, sure, but I'll remind you that there's plenty of other better small budget character action games out there that you could be playing over this one that are actually pretty good.
Poucas pessoas sabem que era o Resident 4.
Before, and I absolutely still recommend it, but some other good examples are games like Solstice, which is a little slow to get going but is still very good and goes for dirt cheap on sales these days, and also a title called On Guard, a game that is actually arguably not really character action, but it does have a very similar feel, and with a big encouragement on environmental combat, it is really fun and just as cool and stylish in its own very different way to DMC or Bayonetta. So yeah, with all of
esses jogos caça-níqueis está como? São que horas agora? Ainda falta meia hora pra meia-noite. Turno 10. Turno 10 não rola não.
Devil May
A Bibo tá jogando Devil May Cry 5. Muito bom, muito bom. Fui sem medo de comprar, pra mim vai ser um jogo que vai valer muito custo. Caralho! Cara, é que eu recebo muito pouco, né, velho? Salário mínimo pra muita coisa é foda. Mas eu queria muito pegar o Rei Link mesmo. O Rei Link é foda. Eu peguei o Rise, né? Já doeu minha alma. Pô, o Rei Link com certeza vai valer. Que jogo bonito da porra, né, velho? Tá doido. Ó, manual pro level 200. Cocorô? Foda, né? Um minuto e 18. Vamos ver o que eu consigo replicar disso. Eu não vou botar o Wake de multi-ataque nem fudendo. Fala aí, poeira. Como é que você tá, meu lindo? Pupuzitos. Eu não vou conseguir replicar essa porra aqui nem ferrando, cara. Tá aqui no gato essa porra. Ih, olha o Mac aí também. Boa noite pra vocês. Então, esse cara tá aqui. Cara, Cocorô, meu irmão. Muita gente não tem Cocorô. Ah, não, Cocorô é SSR, pô. Foda esse patch aí, é. Esse patch vai fazer a diferença. Mas é só se eu tiver que clicar alguns botões a mais e fazer em 2 minutos, já tá muito bom, cara. Honesto, né? Sendo honesto. Qual que vocês têm de boa aí, gente? Fala pra mim aí. Poeirinha vinha essa noite, essa hora da noite. McLove é escravidão, já, já sabemos, né? Para bem ou para mal, já sabemos que o caso do McLove é escravidão. Que McLove tá trabalhando igual doido por ele. Os caras não têm amor por ele não, velho. Tu tá atrás de um B? Não, eu já fiz um B já. Já fiz um B já. Tô gastando o resto da carne mesmo. O que eu consegui pegar tá bom. Sempre faço isso. Eu compro, farmo uma carne, né? Aí eu vou e gasto. Tá vendo a cerazinha? Entrei aqui no Valheim pessoal e pensei passar aqui. Pô, obrigado, cara. Melhor que isso, só quando você se juntar ao Lethal Company com a gente. Aí vai ficar full amor. Cadê os sumos? Eu tô gastando na 90 pra pegar. Ah, eu desisti da arma. Faz bem, faz bem. Eu desisti da arma. Putz. Aí, McLove. Aproveita a caula. Aproveita a caula do brabo aí, ó. Pô, tá mesmo, caralho. Tá doido. Nossa senhora. O jogo não para mais, né? Isso é bom até, né? Acabei de sair do Berseria, mesmo. Jogo infinito. Berseria tava no modo jogo infinito, cara. O que eu posso usar? Você tem esse sumo aqui, ô Kit? O Summer Belly? Caralho, eu não tenho, velho. Faz uma falta. Acho que eu vou botar o Shiva. É, foda. Ih, acabei de ver que o time lá morreu. Ai, que time lixo. Tá. Poeirinha letal. Ah, tô esperando o Poeirinha pro letal. Vai ser muito bom, vai ser muito bom. Vou ter que voltar esse vídeo lá do início pra saber como que é o esquema. Deixa eu dar uns F5 aqui pra poder fazer isso. É, botar aquele... Não, a gente bota um mod de mais gente. Pra quando tiver mais gente também. Caralho, poeira. Mano. Ontem, cara. Ontem a gente riu muito com o Lethal Company, velho. O negócio é tenso pra caralho, meu irmão. Vê os últimos clipes que tá lá no Discord que a Jancha botou. Nossa, teve um da Mari, meu irmão. Que a gente tava mijando de rir, cara. Que lindo, né? Caralho. Não, você caindo agachado foi forte demais. Você caindo agachado foi muito feio. Besouro, bactéria gigante, what? Ele usa aquele. Usa isso. Aí eu vou ter que usar isso aqui. Porque eu não tenho outro. Vamos ver o quão parecido fica. Pera, volta. Como é que é? Poção. Summer velho. Eu não tenho Summer velho. E você. Você. Assassinate. Você. Pilim. É a diferença, né? Peraí, qual botão que apertou aí? Eu não vi o botão, porra. Depois do killing. Esse aqui eu vi. E o outro? Ah, tá. Esse aqui de novo. Tá. Nossa, a diferença de dano é muito alta. Tá, aí Bubs. Bubs, você. Volta. Assassinate. Aperta de novo isso aqui. É sério mesmo? Então tá. Depois isso aqui. Eu odeio esse meta. Tá, deixa eu ver aqui as mensagens, peraí. Cara, é só pra mim ou a live aqui tá baixa? Possivelmente é a live porque tá cheio de coisa de vídeo aqui. E aí, essa porra buga. É. Não tem o que fazer. Já aceitei. GW é um saco. Deixa eu fechar o... Pô, sabe qual é o problema? Eu faço esse tipo de coisa aqui, aí eu fico mais puto. Fico mais puto por não ter conseguido fazer. É. Fechar isso aqui. Eu tô com muito sono já, velho. Eu vou dormir. Tá doido. Chega. Essa falha aqui é a última que eu vou tolerar. É muita coisa que precisa específica, né, cara? Pra fazer as paradas, velho. Porra. Dói no coração até, velho. Ih, vou pegar um dedo nas outras contas já já. Ué, por que eu não tô conseguindo mexer? Ah, travou. Muito ni. Caralho, é muita coisa, né? Tá doido, velho. Só que eu tava fazendo com tempo bom, velho. Fui mexer no time, agora não consigo fazer uma porra nenhuma. Ai, que merda, velho. Fui mexer na porra do time. Ai, cara, como que fazer isso, velho? Olha lá. Ai, caralho, fica entrando nesse loop de todo mundo morrer toda hora, velho. Ah,
光のご加護を
ストレスフラムネ
そこはおりゃこれではガイド役焼き尽くしてあげる火力全開でいくわよなめんな
que é o dano?
メディウムサーリ
Ai, Deus.
ーメディウムサーリー
プロミネントリボン天の光もかすむ好機を
歩みを止める
私がやらなきゃさあどこからでもかかってくるがよい
Vou usar folha de cara, que nojo.
骨も残さん
Caralho, eu odeio fazer merda.
さあ我が美をたたえなさい
O dele é bonito. Esses logos estão novos, né?
我が美をたたえなさい
Deixa eu tirar a animação pra você ver. Direitinho.
助かったわありがとう私が守ってみせる
祝福の光で埋め尽くさんメディウムサーリー祝福の光で埋め尽くさんメディウムサーリー排除する
Ai, que estressante ver isso. Esse zero.
消し済み歩みを止める
私がやらなきゃさあ
年寄りをいじめんなって
それものが
感謝すら感謝すら
至高の美に酔う準備はできて
Pelo amor de Deus, só morre, cara. Meu Deus.
至高
Por que essa
の
luta
美に酔う
possível?
準備はできて
Ai, cara, isso é muito chato. Caralho, isso é muito merda, né, velho? Muito merda, tá doido. Exato, cara. É porque o que acontece? O GBF tem uma história maneira, a gameplay é legal, os personagens são bonitos. Meu irmão, até na hora que você quiser upar algumas coisas específicas e não poder upar porque você tem que ir pra GW. E aí você vai chegar na GW e vai ficar assim, ó. Tô mentindo. Você vai chegar na GW assim, ó. Just, fala aí, se não é verdade. Fala aí qual a sua impressão. Você chega na GW, você quer fazer uma coisa e tudo te mata com... assim. Muita mão. GBF é um jogo ótimo, mas é complicado, hein? Caralho, é muito complicado, mano. Viu só? É complicado. No, Dead by Rage é muito melhor. Tem nem comparação. Puta que pariu. Dá uma surra nesse modo aqui. Esse modo falido, velho. E não muda quase nada, né, cara? Agora até mudou um pouquinho, né? Pra não ser tão injusto. Mas, caralho, meu irmão, é basicamente a mesma coisa desde sempre, velho. Vai lá. Saideira. Ainda bem que é o último dia de GW. Oh. Ah, deve ser personagem de entrada. Personagem simples. Kotai Nasai. É, seria legal. Eu não fiz não, por preguiça. Literalmente por preguiça.
私に任せて。さあ、勝ちのください。私に勝てると思わないでね。そこ。私に任せて。身の程を知れ。ストレスフランメ。
Até acabar Gold Brick. Acabei Gold Brick no primeiro ano que eu joguei, cara. Então é foda. Tinha umas 14 pra pegar. Caralho, que single ataque criminoso, hein? Que single ataque criminoso, cara. Street Fighter não. Eu perdi o Street Fighter. Comecei depois, pouco depois que foi em inglês. Foi no evento da Robomir. Não, foi no evento? Foi no evento da Robomir. E aí logo depois entrou o Summer. O Summer que teve a Zoe. É, eles nunca vão mexer nela. Eles têm medo. O maior medo do jogo. Caralho, meu irmão, só dá 5 ataque, meu irmão. Só dá 5. Até que esse time aqui não foi ruim, não. Esse time aqui não foi ruim, não. Oh boy. GG, guys. Diversão. O fino. Pelo menos na música de batalha do Considere. Talvez eu traumatizei alguém. Mas só talvez. Trauminha de leves. Quer ver uma parada bizarra? Tá vendo essas duas armas aqui? Elas são pica, né? Vamos trocar elas e ver se eu não consigo alguma coisa melhor. Pode ser assim, não, Josh? Vou trocar as duas armas pica por duas armas de defesa. Pronto. Agora sim a saideira vai ser o full alto com essas duas armas. Se der bom, né? Se for mais rápido, show. Se não, acontece. Bebe uma água. Voltei. Eu nem lembro da música de batalha do Tales of Considere, cara. O emote é muito bom aqui. O emote é muito bom. Eu tirei ele pra ver como é que eu consigo lidar. Tipo, se eu consigo ir mais rápido. A voz da Magilu. Nakaremashi, Nakaremashi, Nakaremashi. Ah, a voz da Magilu é muito boa, velho. Jamais. Tá doido. É tanto recurso que gasta naquilo. Tá maluco, tem nível, né? Tem que parar de viver por 3 semanas pra fazer aquilo, pô. Fala sério.
行こうか。
骨も残さん。甘い。
そこそこそこ。デビリッシュランブル。誰がなめんな。火力全開で行くわよ。
Cara, aquilo é muito ridículo, né?
私に任せて。
Caralho, esse jogo aqui é muito, muito louco. Mas é porque os players são assim. Esse aqui, diferente dos outros, o jogo faz o que os players pedem. Isso que é bizarro. Isso não dá bom.
甘いせい。私に任せて。天の光も霞む好機を。
身の程を。
私が守ってみせる。
Porra. Aquela foi merecida, né? Fala sério. A loteria foi ridícula. Foi ridícula. Tem um colega nosso aí, que é seasonal player, né? Só aparece pra dar draw. Ele pegou um Spark, cara. Ele pegou 100 mil cristais. Aquilo lá é muito salt, velho. Muito idiota. Não, aquilo é muito ridículo. Aquilo foi a maior idiotice que eles inventaram. Também. Tô doido pra história, velho. Eu queria os slots extra pra GW, cara. A gente faz 500 armas e não pode ter um slot extra. Ah, mas eles voltam. Isso não repetir a música, tá? Igual eles fizeram com o Super Bahamut. Sim, tem que virar V2 não, V2 completo. Né? Porque pode ser V2 sem extra slot. Eu quero extra slot.
イリッシュランブル天の光も霞む好機もしっかりなめんな火力全開でいくわよ私に任せて
Quer me dizer agora que o foco tá assistindo?
オレオレオレプロミネントリボン輝きだけは消えないまあこうなるわね
Bom, guys. Vou ficando por aqui. Chega.
最近力が溢れて止まらないの誰にも
Chega,
負ける気
chega
が
dessa
しない
loucura.
団長たちのおかげかな
Até amanhã, meus amigos. Vou lá assistir Class 1 Assassinate e ser feliz na minha vida. Valeu. Valeu, Kit. Valeu, Junch. Valeu, Poeira, McLove. Reis. Tess, se tiver nas escondidas também. Fui, turminha. Até amanhã. Amanhã a gente tá libertado.